Today, I want to talk about something that is very controversial, right? So, I want you to be open minded and see everything I'll be talking about, right? And be able to make your decision. Do not block your mind. Be open minded to this. What I want to talk about today is marriage a contract or a covenant? Is marriage a contract or a covenant? Many people argue it is a contract, many people argue it is a covenant. So today, this is what I want to answer. But before I continue, I want you to subscribe. Yes, please. I want you to subscribe. Can you subscribe to this YouTube channel? Hit the notification bell so that you get to know every time we post something. Remember that my name is El and I'm alright. So I'll always be here to share nice videos, answering questions that you have been looking for answers for. So is marriage a contract or it is a covenant? Well, you may want to pause this video here and go online or check out the dictionaries you have to know what is the meaning of a contract and what is the meaning of a covenant. Well, I'll be generous enough so you can be looking at the screen and be able to pick one or two definitions from as to what contract is and what covenant is. But today I would like to answer you, and I'll be answering you as a lawyer. I'll be answering you as an ordained minister of the gospel, and I'll also be answering you as a marriage counselor. I think I happen to be in a very good position to answer you or answer this particular question, because this question covers three different things. It covers marriage, it covers religion, it borders on marriage, borders on religion, and borders on law. And I am a lawyer. I'm a sex and relationship. I'm a lawyer of over 10 years as at the time of making this video. I'm a sex and relationship counselor of over 17 years, and I'm also an ordained minister of about 7 years as at the time of making this video. So I stand in the different offices to be able to answer you from the different perspective of it. I do understand that many people are emotional, taking that covenants are stronger than contracts, and that the relationship, the union we enter when we get married is a very strong union, and so we cannot refer to that union as a contract. We must refer to it as a covenant. Where, because when we hear the word covenant, we think that is something strong. We think that something that is like it's very big, it's plenty, it's mighty, and we think about blood, right? Something that has to do with blood, something that has to do with your life. Well, I didn't actually have a, I didn't actually have an issue with what you think about it, and that is because we act and we believe based on what we know. Our belief is based on the amount of knowledge and understanding we have on that particular thing. So that's why I'll be answering today as a lawyer, as a counselor, and also as an ordained minister. The word covenant is not stronger than the word contract. Neither is the word contract lighter in weight to the word covenant. This is actually what it is. A contract is an embodiment of different things that contains a covenant. So in the real sense, a covenant is not really something that can stand on its own. It is something that is inside a contract. What is a covenant actually? A covenant is an agreement that is sealed. And this time it is either sealed by blood, or it is sealed by signature, or it is sealed by some hand seal, or it is sealed by whatsoever it is being sealed by. In those days, we used to have it being sealed by blood, right? A time came, we have it being sealed by the scepters of the kings, their staff of office of the kings and the rest. Once they say something, and they stretch it, or they sign it with their signet rings, or they with the wafer, and they use the hand seal. It has evolved. It has evolved. A covenant is just an agreement that is sealed. What is a contract? A contract is now a contract is a relationship, an embodiment, a document, everything that contains the covenant. So To make you understand this better, I would like to break down the elements of a contract. What a contract contains. When you say something is a contract, what does it mean? It means that if you pick up a contract, for example, you discover that it has this part. It has the heading, right? It has a heading which usually you say, let us speak, for example, a land agreement, a land document, for example, a land contract, which a land contract has different names. We can call it a deed, we can call it a sales agreement, we can call it a deed of transfer, a deed of conveyance, different names, deed of gift and the rest. But okay, it's a deed, right? So it's a contract in the real sense. Now let's look at it. It has a heading, it has a date clause, followed by a date clause, followed by the parties clause, followed by the reciter clause, followed by the consideration clause, followed by the covenant clause. Do you see where covenant is showing up now? After the covenant, following by the execution clause, right? So at the end of the day, when we are talking about a covenant does not really stand on its own, because before you reach that agreement, there was negotiations. There were negotiations that came into play. Now, the covenant is just the terms and conditions, the rules that's guiding the relationship, the covenants that the people are making, the agreements that they are coming into. That is what covenant just means. And what is contract? Contract is just the agreement we are also making. I do understand that when people are talking about contract, they see it as something that has to do with business. Yes. And when they are talking about covenants, they see it as something that has to do with spiritual and life. That is fine. That is great. Right? That is fine and that is great for you to think about it that way, that, okay, contract is everything that has to do with business, and a covenant has to do with everything that has to do with life, or has to do with something that is spiritual. Well, that you are thinking about that and you're correct does not mean that you are completely correct. You know, in law, when somebody is taking oath in court, and the person will say, I promise to tell the truth, I affirm that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So something can be the truth and it is not the whole truth. So marriage is a covenant, is the truth. Marriage is a contract, is the whole truth. Do you get it right now? Okay, now let's look at it this way. Let's look at it and see, how do we enter a marriage? First of all, and how do we enter a contract? Let me show you the similarities. First of all, in entering a contract and in getting married, we have the same elements. What's the first element? The first element is that, one, there's an offer. Who is offering this time when it comes to marriage? The person who is proposing, the person who is toasting, the person who is chiking, the person who is trying to woo you and the rest. That's the person who is making an offer. Who is the person making an acceptance? The girl that is accepting whether he or she wants to marry you or not. Sometimes the girl makes a counter offer and says, no, I'm not going to marry you except you get a job, except you leave this place, except we are not going to be living here, except you do this, you get a degree first, except you do this and that. She brings up a counter offer, or she says, I'm not going to marry you because I don't want to talk about marriage now until I've gotten my master's, until this and that. That's a counter offer which you will not decide to agree on and the rest. And the moment you do that and you agree and all of that, you have now reached an agreement. Like the offer and the acceptance, there's offer now and there's now acceptance. But then you now go to consideration. In go to consideration, you have to still take some steps. You go and meet a father, you ask for the bride price, what is the bride price list, you ask for all the differences. I'm using Nigeria as a case study right now. You ask for all those things. And what do? You negotiate them. You're like, daddy, this thing is too much. We cannot pay this. We can do this. We cannot bring this number. We can bring this number. And you do all of that. And at the end of the day, what happens? Consideration is paid. You paid the bride price. For people who may not do traditional marriage, consideration is paid through the first sex. Right? Consideration is paid through the first sex. And so that's why usually when it comes to marriage, we usually ask the question as lawyers, has consummation happened, right? Has it been sealed to some extent? Okay, that's more or less like the sealing, right? That's what sex has to do with, the sealing of the contract, the sealing of the covenant, rather. The sealing of the covenant this time, which is the blood covenant. That is like many religious people are battling that. people should marry as virgins, so that that blood covenant that happens during the first sex becomes what seals the marriage, what seals it. So we have constitution, which is the payment of the bride price. Now, I'll be using my tribe as a case study. I am Asan from Edo. I was born and raised Asan from Edo State of Nigeria. And I also use what the law says, the Marriage Act, and what you'll be told if you were to walk into a marriage registry and choose to have your marriage in the marriage registry. So now, the moment consideration is paid, if it's my tribe, they will show you the bride. She will wear she'll tie a very short wrapper, just a little bit close to her nipples and a little bit below her waistline, and they will show you to her and say, these are how many scars that are in our daughter's body. We don't want to hear that she has more scars. These are the things you must do because you're now her husband, and these are the things she's going to do because she's now your wife, and these are the responsibilities you carry out, and these are the responsibilities you carry out. They will go further in my tribe to say things like, there is the Esan people of Edo State that say, if she ever dies, you are returning her body back to her father's family. We saw that a national case. That was in the case of Obasanjo and Obasanjo, President Olusegun Obasanjo and Stella Obasanjo, First Lady Stella Obasanjo, because she is Asan, and when she died, the Asan people said he needed to honor the covenant of his marriage, the agreement of his marriage, of returning the lady back to her father's house for burial. But then we had to use state laws to override customs. State law means that she was now a national figure, she was the First Lady of Nigeria, and so Nigeria had more claims over her than her local community. So we have different contracts, we have different rules, different covenants. For example, if you're getting married under the Statutory Act, or if you choose to have a Christian marriage, one of the covenants you will be entering into is the fact that this marriage is for life, till death do we part. You will not have multiple spouses. You will not have a second husband, or you will not have a second wife, and everything that you have now belongs to this person, and everything this person has now belongs to you, and that you'll be responsible. All the different things, right? This is not a law class, so I will not want to give you all of that. So those are the covenants you enter. Those are the terms and conditions you enter. I know people say in I've heard an argument that says that contract has an expiration date, covenant does not have an expiration date. I say, hey, even marriage has an expiration date. Is it not till death do we part? It's till death we part. And just as every contract, for their covenants, there are exclusion clauses. Even for marriage, that people may call stricto sensu is a covenant, also have exclusion clauses. There are situations wherein divorce is permitted. There are situations in which separations is permitted. So it also has exclusion clauses. Right? So just calm down. Don't be looking at it like, oh, something contract is things of the world. Covenant is no. It is what is actually marriage. Marriage is actually a social contract. That's the truth about it. It's a social contract. Why? It's a contract that is based on the social lives of people. That's why marriages are based on the customs, the traditions, and the civil laws of the people entering into it. Right? So practically, if you tell me now, can you get married and avoid the law? You cannot. You cannot get married. You always obey either the laws of your church, which you call doctrines, or the laws of your community, which you call customs and traditions, or the laws of your civil society, which you call statutes and acts. So is marriage a covenant? Yes, marriage is a covenant. Is marriage a contract? Yes, marriage is a contract. Why? Because every contract contains covenants, and every covenant is actually a social or a spiritual contract. With these few points of mine, I hope I have successfully convinced you and not confused you that marriage is a contract and marriage is a covenant, and that you cannot say marriage is a covenant and not a contract, and you can also not say that marriage is a contract and not a covenant. My name is Elan. I'm alright. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube video, right? If you send a WhatsApp message or you comment in the comment section, drop a comment in the comment section, I will be the one who will respond to it personally and directly, right? Remember to share this video with your friends so that they get to enjoy the things you enjoy. You rock.